And now the moment of truth, the diorama. I'm using styrene sheet, 3mm thick. I'm using some foam, and I'm using these products, the desert sand and the sandy desert. I didn't really know which one I'm going to use, so I just used both. I fixed the foam on the styrene sheet. I just used this PVA glue. This is really strong glue, and it sets fairly quickly. At this point of the build, I'm rushing. I'm really rushing because I only have, I think, 3 days left to make this. And since this is my first diorama, I'm freaking out. I'm just placing this on the board, aligning it by eye, and afterwards I'll be trimming it. The only thing that I didn't cut off was the white piece that was sticking out on the side, as you see. I don't have a bandsaw here, so I did it after the thing was done. Yeah, I should have done it before, but again, I was pressed for time. Here I'm just test fitting how I would position all the items on the diorama, how I wanted to look, how I wanted them to look. And I've also put some pins on the bottom of this little box so that I will always just stick them in the foam so that it wouldn't move if for some reason I will be changing stuff around or handling it. I also put pins underneath the tent. I did this for the same reason. And I also put pins on the bottom of the dudes. So I drilled out the holes in the feet and I just put some pins inside so I can place them in. And I'm extremely clumsy. You'll see the binoculars fly away just right now. See? Boom. See? Oh my god, look at that. In the right hand corner. See the black dot? Those are binoculars. Yeah. Now, even though this was my first diorama, I didn't want to make it boring, so I thought of maybe using a flat cannon on a hill. So I decided to cut out the hill from the styrene. But unfortunately, the hill was too small. Well, not the hill, but the surface area on the hill, where I wanted to place the flak cannon, was too small. Yeah, so, you know, just goes to show, measure twice, cut once. Not the other way around. So I just, at this point, I just glued it in and I said, well, I'll just improvise, I'll figure something out. And I did figure something out. I fixed the hill in place with toothpicks. I just stuck them in at an angle so that it wouldn't move. And once the hill was dry, I cut off the excess to make a slope, because at this point I already knew that the top was too small. I just made a slope, and I filled in the gap to make a more uniform hill, like, you know, I tapered the edges, I think it's called in English. And I just cut them off, and then I glued those excess pieces inside the crevices. Just stuck them in. Just put a lot of glue in and then just filled the hole. That's what she said. Oh, okay, wrong video for that. Anyway, yeah, I just used some glue. See, just stuck my fingers right in, pushed it in. That's what she said too. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Dirty mind. Dirty, dirty, dirty. But yeah, this is how I formed the hill. This part was, although I was freaking out and rushing, it was kind of therapeutic. And here I just made some relief or some indentations in the ground. I didn't want it to be flat. I wanted to make it more not flat. So I just used my fist and fingers to squish the foam. This is again very therapeutic. I would really recommend this. It's so soothing. The foam just bends to your will. I just made some holes, basically, to simulate some holes. Uneven ground, I want to say. Yeah, I'm so precise with my words today. And I'm scraping it with basic tweezers, making sure that it's not great. And this is the paper mache. Yeah, this is I just used some kitchen paper towels. I tore them up. Then I poured on water to make them into a sludgy. And I tore them up some more. And afterwards, I added some PVA glue, a liberal amount of PVA glue, as you can see. And I squished them out even more. And then I just apply this stuff on the surface to make a slope. And if you have a kid, he's gonna love this part if he's building with you, because this is messy and sticky and it's just right. You can see that it's a little bit too wet. I put too much water. I should have used a little less water, so I kind of had to remove some of the water. Afterwards, I covered the hill with one sheet of paper so that it would be more uniform, and I just left it to dry, and it dries a long time, so just be aware of that because it was so wet. Here, for the first time, I'm using sandy desert. Straight from the bottle, it was too thick. So I went to the kitchen to get some water, and you can see I'm just diluting it, and it's acrylic, it's non-toxic, it doesn't smell. Well, it has a sort of smell, but it's not a bad smell. And you just apply it with a brush. And some people say that you ruin the brush. No, you don't. I'm still using this brush. If you clean it off quickly enough, it's not gonna go bad. So, you know, just take care of your tools, and the tool will take care of you if you're not a tool. Oh, that's a joke. Okay, a bad one. Anyway, after it dries, it was too dark. I didn't want to make it so dark, so afterwards I applied another layer. This time desert sand. It was more lighter color, and I basically mixed the two colors together to make more of a color that I liked, actually, because this was an hour after it dried. It was still a bit tacky. See, I'm just kind of mixing those colors together. Now, just before the surface was completely dry, I plopped down the tent, I pressed it into the surface, and it's still stuck there permanently. I didn't use any glue at all. The terrain held it in place. Here I'm basically making some tracks to simulate rubber tires. See, I'm just going there with a brush, kind of distorting the terrain. This is like, I think, half an hour into the drying process. The surface is a little bit more flexible to work with, so you can pretty much do all these little effects. And I'm still just pressing down the vehicle very hard on the surface and make sure that I fit it. I activate it with water so that it activates again, and then it sets dry and it's there permanently. Here I'm using some MIG's footprints. Yeah, German footprints. Now this process is a little bit tricky. In this instance, the footprints were not as well great. I probably should have left it a little bit more time to dry, so now I'm just fixing the footprints in place with water so you can activate it again. And this is basically dirt that I picked out right outside my house. This is just dirt, rocks, little pebble rocks. And I'm fixing them in place with wood glue and water, PVA glue diluted in water. Again, it's a little bit too diluted here. I shouldn't have diluted this much, so I had to redo it again off camera because none of the blocks really set in place, the bigger ones. And here I'm showing what I'm doing. So I wanted to emulate this exact picture, so I made the antenna. Again, the footage is lost, sorry. I'm just here attaching the little wire. This is a piece of wire right off of category 5 UTP cable. Soft wire, so you can unthread the threads. And I'm making a handle for the radio. I'm just using styrene rod to bend it in place. I think this is like 0.3 millimeter, and here it is. Yeah, I'm so fast, and I'm super glue it in place. Use some cotton buds to wipe off the excess, and then I just kind of maneuver it in place because it's a little bit crooked, as you can see, but it's sort of okay. Here I'm using those same copper thread wires from the UTP cable. I just threaded them and fixed them in place. This is a very tedious process. I had to really do it quite a long time because I wanted to get it just right, and then I just painted it in XF 18. So you can see the fruits of my labor here. It's pretty cool and realistic. Pretty cool. I like it. So here we have weapons. I gave them a base coat of gunmetal from AK, and then individually paint the wooden handles and grips and stock, to emulate wood. And it's a little bit fiddly, but at the end result they look pretty good. Now I had to do something for that unfortunate hill that was too small for the flak cannon, so I decided to use some shovels and a bucket to put on top of the hill. And at this point you have to know that this is a day before I actually had to finish the whole thing. Yeah, this was really fast. I was cavalier, just painting it, swapping it. I did the same weathered effect as on the Kubelwagen, so German gray, and then use the chipping Worn effects. Afterwards I painted it with camouflage colors, and then just scraping off some paint to make it more beat up and used. So this is how it looks. See, yeah, this is how it looks now. And of course I scraped off the shovel because I painted it in metallic color, so that, you know, the shovel is used. You see, I'm using a pick to scrape off the excess paint, and I filled the bucket with sand, as one does, so that it wouldn't be empty. And that was pretty much it for the pieces for the diorama. Yeah, sorry, it's out of focus and it's out of center, so perfect. And here I'm just making a little patch of dirt or sand and sticking the shovel inside and gluing the bucket in place. This is the close-up shot of the diorama. As you can see, when the glue sets, it's more of a shiny finish, so I had to cover it. I just diluted desert sand terrain and just went on over it to uniform the build. And I attached the various items such as the canister, the guns, yeah, and I spray painted some of the rocks to modulate them, to make them more different, unique, I guess, just to make more realistic sort of a feel. Again, this is my first diorama, so, you know, don't be too mean, don't be too pedantic. At this point I think it's the last day and I'm really freaking out and rushing, but in the end I think I managed to make a pretty decent diorama. So here it is, you guys be the judges.